see the rest of my land, but this way is just god-awful.
Good morning, everyone. Treasure Troller here from the militant state of Michigan. Thank you, Cubby, for that introduction. Now, I'm kind of going out on a limb here because I'm hoping that I was able to get the voice or the audio on and then lined up with this part of the vlog. So if it doesn't happen, well, there was supposed to be about 20 seconds or so of Cubby. Shit. Okay. So we'll get the car ferry in it now. See, this is Macker weekend in Ludington, the Gus Macker 3-on-3 basketball tournament. So this town is flooded with people playing this tournament. I was going to give you a view of it, but you really can't get anywhere near it, and I really don't want to be anywhere near it. So I thought I'd come down to the Ludington Harbor. You can get a view of the city marina here. And then we pan back and we get the Badger again, and then I will show you. Now, gotta turn it on maybe. Over there, those buildings over there, over there, for the life of me, I mean, lakefront property is supposed to have amenities, but these don't. Not really, as far as I'm concerned. That is about maybe a 3-iron from where I'm sitting. A couple 100 yards, give or take. But for them, to get where Treasure Troller is parked, they have to drive about 2.5 miles south. Then they have to drive another couple of miles east. And then probably 3 miles north. And then another 3 miles back west. There's no way to get from over there to everything that you'd want to eat, groceries and whatnot. I can't, but I mean, those are on the canal, but the other side of them can't really. But the other side is Lake Michigan. I mean, Lake Michigan is just a few feet from them. So we got to get to lost. We got to get to alone. Lost and alone. I will give them credit, and we're going to do a sort of a value-added benefit for the players of the contestants, prospective contestants for Survivor. So we're going to throw a little Survivor, maybe pro tip in there for Survivor contestants. The one thing that I will say about the people on Alone is that when they go there, they at least have a reason to want to win the money. I don't think a lot of them believe they can win the money, because I think to a lot of them it's, well, I have the skills, the primitive skills, and so I'm going to put my skills to the test, and I think they're good enough to where I could win, but I'm not really sure that I can win. winning to them is a little too much variance is involved for them to win. But they're not giving their money away to charity. They're using it for themselves or their loved ones. They want to move to a different part of Newfoundland to build a different house. You know, Dub, he wants to pay off his parents' house and pay off his house. You know, Isaac, is it Isaac or Isaiah? I don't have their names all together, but the family man, the one that after 3 days is homesick. I mean, who would have ever thought that Isaiah, the family man, is homesick? You know, he's got some heavy bills to pay off, heavy medical bills from the in vitro fertilization attempts. So they have some money. Now, here's the pro tip for any survivor contestant or future survivor contestant. The problem that's been happening on Survivor the last few days is the last couple of seasons is at Final Tribal, they're asking these people what they would do with the money if they won. And of course, the winner always seems to be the one that wants to give all their money to the poor orphan house that's in their hometown community. So it's the orphans that get the money. So what I would do, and here's the pro tip. So I know there's different merges and shit like that, but anytime you're faced with new contestants, so like you get there and they split them up in those groups of 6, your tribe is 6 people, the first thing I would do is ask each single one of them what they intend to do with the money if they win. Anyone that says, I'm giving my money to the orphans, just vote their ass off immediately. Immediately get rid of them. Same thing when they have the big merge and now they're 2 tribes. And there's going to be 2 or 3 new people maybe in your tribe. You ask them, well, hey, man, if you know, you made it this far, so what would you do with the money if you won? And if they say, you know, I'm giving it all away to charity, vote their ass off. Get rid of all these people that want to give the money away. So there's your pro tip for Survivor. So now we get to Alone. Just a few things off the top of my head. That river looks sketchy. I don't know if it's a very silty bottom. It's the brown water. I don't know. I'm sure there's fish in it. I'm sort of thinking maybe possibly that having just the net is might be better, especially if there's pike in there, because even from last season, they don't have leaders. It's just fishing line, and it doesn't hold. So might not be a bad idea. And I know that there's, and I can't think of I could look in some other vlogs. So I think the guy that's commented on here that's just user or something, I think you've been here a few times in the past. I can't remember your name offhand. We're talking about using the paracord and making the nets. I'm not disagreeing with that. I know it can be done because they've done it in the past. But the people that brought the nets, I mean, within 10 minutes, they could be fishing. And also, so I'm not sure that the paracord net would have been, at least in this season, the best thing to do. But like I said, I don't know about this river. This river doesn't look to be that deep. So how effective these nets are going to be, it almost seems like there's only a couple of inches between the bottom and maybe their floating, maybe the end of their log that they've got the net on. I don't know, it might be better to go out there and, well, if you could, but kind of keep the net out of the water a little bit. Raise it up a little bit so you've got more net in there for them to get into. The other thing, though, that I will say about this river is it's not like when they were out there, like on those lakes where the winds come up and those nets get all beat to hell. This season, it might be there might be a little of an advantage of having the net out in that river. That's yet to be seen. William, a couple of things with William, but I watched the show a couple times and I could have not seen it. Maybe it was like a quick 10-second clip and I missed it both times or so, but it looks like he's got himself kind of like he's in a cave or something like that. I want to see more about his shelter. I think he's got the idea, the best idea. So now it kind of comes to what's the main storyline this week. I think that there must be some sort of disconnect between survival skills and surviving. And there was a little bit of, and there were sort of 3 instances here where that kind of made me think that there is really a learning curve, and sometimes the learning curve is just kind of inconvenient, and I got a sailboat coming out. Sometimes it's inconvenient, and sometimes, well, it can end your chances. So the first one is, of course, Bill and catching the first fish on season alone in his gill net, and of course it getting away. Now, I'm not saying that if the fish is in the net you should club him, but I do think because basically your life is on the line, I think you should secure the fish before you try to start taking them out of the gill net. You can run something up through the gills or something like that, especially if they're alive, conk them on the head, but they certainly should not be able to get out of your grasp as you're getting them out of the gill net. I mean, most of the time these fish have drowned by the time they find them. I'm sure if he's obviously doing this fishing and trapping, I'm sure he's going to lose a lot more than he catches, but that learning curve did not cost you your chances. And then we come to Dub. And Dub kind of said something that, and he was getting kind of freaked out the next day about the bears and saying, you know what, if I was at home, there's not many bears and you're overreacting. And he's like, well, I would be saying that, but when you're actually the food, it's a different feeling. And I think that's sort of the difference between having the survival skills and being able to survive. And then we come to Cubby and his exploring. his exploring. The first thing, I mean, even before his accident, I was like looking at that quiver, and I was going, "Oh, okay. He doesn't want to do what last season's dude did and have that that kind of quiver that the arrows are kind of secured in, and he lost it. He lost all of his arrows. He went with a more, maybe a more traditional quiver." But the problem is, the first thing I saw him snapping on him, and I was looking close at that quiver, and I was going, man, that's awful. That's maybe better than what that other guy had, but that's awful big. And then they had the little text on the screen about they're allowed 9 arrows. And I was thinking, well, that's way too big for 9 arrows. I mean, I appreciated the quiver because, I mean, all these people that want to pick berries and throw them in their pocket, you know, the quiver would be a hell of a lot nicer place and a lot more if you found a bunch of berries out there or something like that. But I was thinking, this is way too big. And I mean, that's got to be a 10 million to 1 chance. But, you know, it's sort of like a golf bag that doesn't have very many clubs in it. It gets messy and things move around and things can come out. I just can't help think I should have counted, went back for like a 4th time and counted how many times Cubby said safety. Oh my God. I just think that they're taking the quivers. I think he has the right idea for the quiver rather than that other thing. More of that holder. But I think they need to get something that's a lot smaller. And I would even get something that was not quite as rigid as those are. Maybe the first 2 or 3 inches on the bottom would kind of be like a hard plastic. And then the very top, you would want maybe 2 or 3 inches of hard plastic. And then the material in between those, the plastic, I would make it a bit more flexible. I don't want to say leather, but a plastic. Something that doesn't really allow the arrows to move around. The only thing I can think of is, like, sometimes you used to have like those day golf bags where you didn't want to carry the big bag. You're going to walk. You didn't want to carry the big sort of formed golf bag. You wanted to carry something a little bit lighter, and their materials aren't as rigid, and the bag is much smaller. You know, something along those lines. But those quivers are just way too big for 9 arrows. So I think they need to go smaller on that. Anything else? Not really. I just keep thinking that there's this learning curve, or this lack of, and I don't know what you would attribute it to, but there's just this lack of knowledge between survival skills and survival. They may know how to start fires and set out the trap lines and fish and boil water, but they really don't know how to protect themselves from just being stupid. So I think that's it. I know we haven't seen all the contestants yet, so it's kind of hard to get a real feel for what's going on. But I am curious about what William is staying in. I just, if they said it or they showed it, I missed it. I remember them talking to Dub, and Dub was kind of building his on the side of a hill. But I don't remember them saying anything about William. Maybe they figured they really couldn't do anything better than thinking you got the fish and then you don't. So we'll get this sailboat here heading out into the open seas. Oh, we give you a little, while I think about this. So you can see the smoke coming out of the chimney there of the car ferry. It's still could be a coal engine. Let's see. A while back, of course, the winds mostly come out of the west. They go from west to east. We get the northern winds, but a lot of wind comes out of the west. So anyways, it was just a basic coal engine, and the EPA said that they had to modify their engines, and after some wrangling, they were going to shut them down, and they had to modify the engines. I'm not sure if it's more filters or if it's running off something else along with the coal, but they've been modified engines because, they're polluting the air, I guess. But, it's not like we're getting any shit coming across Lake Michigan from Milwaukee and Chicago. Nothing like that. It's all about one ship that runs 4 months out of the year. Yep. So this is Treasure Stroller saying aloha and good day.